everyone, and welcome to my September wrap-up, but also welcome to day one of VLOGOWEEN. If you are maybe new here and don't know how VLOGOWEEN works on my channel, instead of posting a video every single day throughout October, I post 13 videos. If you are superstitious, I can hear you swiftly clicking out of this video, but I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which equals out to 13 videos. Not all of them are like spooky related, but hopefully a lot of them will be. I also try to vlog the entire month, so you can see all of the spooky books and movies and activities that I get up to. Literally up until about yesterday, I didn't think VLOGOWEEN would be happening on my channel this year because, for lack of a better word, the odds haven't really been in my favor lately in life, but I've done VLOGOWEEN on my channel since I've had this channel, which is like 3-4 years, so I figured I can't possibly stop now, so I'm going to try my best to do it again this year. Videos might be a bit late some days, maybe I'll miss a day, but hopefully I won't, and I am going to try my very best. And you probably already guessed it, but yes, I am really sick right now, which is why my voice sounds like this, so hopefully that isn't too annoying. But anyways, all that aside, let's jump into my September wrap-up. I only read 4 books in September. I was hoping to read more, but then I got sick and I was just laying in bed for a really long time watching Friends, so I didn't get to read as much as I'd have liked to. But let's jump into some statistics. So 2 of the books that I read were standalones, and 2 of them were a part of a series. 2 of them came out in 2018, 1 in 2015, and 1 in 2019. 2 of them were nonfiction, 1 was sci-fi and 1 was fantasy. 2 were adult and 2 were young adult. And we had 2 4-star reads, 1 4.5-star read, and 1 2.5-star read. 3 of them were physical reads and 1 was an ebook. So, jumping into the first book that I read, which was A Sucky Love Story by Brittany Louise Taylor. For those of you who don't know her, Brittany Louise Taylor is a YouTuber. I used to watch her like back in the day, but I kind of stopped watching her over the years. But she was recently, actually I don't know how recently it was quite a few months ago, but she was on Shane Dawson's channel and she basically told the story of what's in this book on his channel. And calling it a sucky love story is really kind of sugarcoating it. Like, what happens in this book is really one of my worst fears in life. This is a nonfiction book. I probably should mention that. This is about a bad story of love, basically, and she told it on Shane Dawson's channel, so even though I was familiar with the story already, I figured that in the book she probably went into a little bit more detail, and she definitely did. There were some things that she had left out of the Shane Dawson thing, and she just talked a little bit more about how it really affected her and how she felt in those moments. She went into it a little bit more in the book. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is a bit weird, like, rating somebody's personal story, but the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars was just because the writing didn't always flow for me. It's so hard to rate because I rate my books a lot based off of, like, personal entertainment, but, like, this isn't something to be entertained by. This is, it's a very hard-hitting story, and it was really struggling to read sometimes because, like I said, I hope this never happens to me, and I feel like I shouldn't even be saying this on the internet because I'm like putting it out into the universe that this is something that freaks me out. But yeah, it was a really hard-hitting story, and I would definitely recommend it. Even if you watched her explain the story on Shane's channel, because I know a lot of people watch him, I would still recommend picking up the book because it just goes into more detail and really how it affected her. Yeah, I can't even really put into words how I felt about the story, but I think it was also very inspirational, so I would definitely recommend picking it up. Then I read Obsidian by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the 3rd and final book in the Illuminae Files trilogy. I started reading this trilogy earlier this year. I read Illuminae and Gemina, and then I took, for a stupid reason, I don't even know why, like a 2 or 3 month break before picking up this book, and so I have a horrible memory when it comes to books. I say this all the time, but I honestly couldn't really remember what happened in the 2nd book when I went into reading this book, so this one took me a little bit longer to really get into just because I was trying to like figure out what the heck happened in the last book. That being said, I still super duper enjoyed this series and I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I do think I would have probably given it like a full 5 stars had I read them all like one right after the other so that everything would have been fresh in my mind, but I still really enjoyed it. Like I said, I love all of the characters. Another reason I think I wasn't into this one quite as much was because in each book, like in the first book, we follow like these 2 main characters, and then in the 2nd book, we're introduced to 2 more characters that become like the main characters, and then in this book, we're introduced to 2 more characters that are like the main characters, and I wasn't into these two as much as the other four. So while they were still in this book, it did focus a lot on these two new characters, and I just wasn't as invested in their story as I was with the other ones. But overall, I would say that the Illuminae Files is probably my favorite series that I've read in 2019 thus far. Like, it was really good. It's really gripping, fast-paced because of the formatting of the book. It's told in like a mixed media format through like text messages and chat messages and video surveillance footage, and it's just something I've never like read before. So on top of it just being really interesting and engaging, it's also super unique. So I would totally recommend this series. Next book I picked up was the other nonfiction book, and that is All I Know Now by Carrie Hope Fletcher. She is another YouTuber. As you can tell, I do like to read a lot of YouTuber books, but she is also like an actress and a singer. She's been on the West End, and then she's also an author. She's just like all around a really talented woman, and I very much look up to her. So I really wanted to read some of her books because she has this nonfiction book, but then she's also written fiction books, which is what I initially wanted to pick up. So I looked on my library website, which includes all of the books in all of the libraries like in my district, which is a lot of libraries, and none of them have any of her books. There was just one copy of this book, so I was like, well, I guess that's the one I'm going to pick up. And I was a little apprehensive because this is probably not meant for like my age range anymore. It's more of like for younger teenagers, and that's also what I heard a lot of people say when I like read their reviews on Goodreads, that it was, you know, kind of for a younger audience. But I still really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. While it is mostly like a self-help book, it does also kind of go into a little bit of Carrie's life, so it's a little bit like a memoir as well, and I really like those parts of the story. I also just think there are things in this book that, you know, anybody of any age can get some advice out of, so I liked that as well. And I also really love her writing, so I do really want to pick up some of her fiction books because her writing just flowed really well. It was really easy and fast to read, and it was pretty humorous at times as well. So I overall really liked this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I already said that, but I would definitely recommend it to anybody to read, but like especially if you are more in the age range like a younger teenager, I would recommend it. And then the final book that I read in September was The Vine Witch. I received an art copy of this book from Wonderkind PR. It officially comes out on October 1st, which I think when I upload this, that would have been yesterday. So I did a full review of this book on my channel. It was the last video that I did, so I will leave a link to it at the end of this video during my little end card bit. So if you want to learn more about this book and my thoughts on it, I would suggest going over and watching that video. But what I will say is I gave it 2.5 stars. I did like it. I actually really love the concept of it, and I just don't think it was executed as well as it could have been, so that is why I gave it a lower rating. But I did still enjoy my time reading it. I just definitely think there were a lot of things that could have been improved on. So yeah, those were all of the books that I read in September. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Also, let me know what your favorite book was that you read in September. Mine was definitely Obsidian. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?